Glenn Beck is finally being called out for his incessant, disturbing use of Nazi and Holocaust references. 400 rabbis have signed a letter calling on Rupert Murdoch to sanction Glenn Beck and his boss, Fox News President Roger Ailes, and they're taking the fight to Murdoch's turf. Today, the Jewish Funds for Justice published the letter in a full-page ad in the Murdoch-owned Wall Street Journal. The letter points to Roger Ailes' characterization of NPR after they fired Juan Williams. At the time, Ailes said about NPR, quote, "They are, of course, Nazis. They have a kind of Nazi attitude, and they are the left wing of Nazism." And then he made it worse by dismissing the criticism that came his way, attributing it to, quote, "left-wing rabbis who basically don't think that anyone can use the word Holocaust on air." Yeah, I don't think blaming rabbis is the way to go there. And that doesn't even address the bigger problem, which is the appalling stream of Nazi comparisons that perpetually flow out of Glenn Beck.
Nazi tactics are progressive tactics. In the early days of Adolf Hitler, Nazi, Hitler,
Holocaust,
Nazi, Goebbels took from the progressives.
I think the Germans, however, were an awful lot like we are now.
This is what Hitler did with the SS.
But all of that ridiculous rhetoric pales in comparison to this outrageous accusation from Beck.
George Soros used to go around with this, anti-Semite and deliver papers to the Jews and confiscate their property and then ship them off. It is frightening. Here's a Jewish boy helping send the Jews to the death camps.
That, of course, is not even remotely true. Soros was a 14-year-old boy who barely survived the Holocaust and had absolutely nothing to do with sending other Jews to death camps. That is the most disgusting lie I have ever heard in my life. I literally can't think of anything you can say about somebody that's worse than that. And to make it up, it turns your stomach. Now, let me bring in one of the rabbis who has signed a letter to Rupert Murdoch, Rabbi Will Burkovitz of Repair the World. Rabbi, what are you looking for here? What would be the sanction of Beck and Ailes that you guys would like to see happen?
I think it'd be wonderful if he would stop talking.
Well, that's true, but
no, I don't think he's going to stop speaking, unfortunately. But I think maybe if he just took, one of our rabbis, Joseph Telushkin, suggested a gossip fast, like taking 24 hours or maybe a week or a month, and just trying not to use such hateful and insightful language might be a great place to start.
He keeps saying, or Ailes did, left-wing rabbis. This is 400 rabbis you guys have put together here. Are they all left-wingers?
Well, I think there's a lot of Orthodox rabbis that are really pretty far left. No, Orthodox rabbis tend not to represent the left wing of the Jewish community, and this letter is signed by Reform rabbis, conservative rabbis, Reconstructionist rabbis, Orthodox rabbis, and heads of the movements themselves. Hardly people that you would call radical left.
And look, to me, out of all the different things that he said, I think the Soros lie was, like I said, it's the worst lie I've ever seen. I can't imagine making up something more atrocious than that. How over the top is that? And what do you do when a major corporation like News Corp says, well, I don't care what he said, I'm going to put him on the air?
Look, President Obama said the other day, we'll move forward together or not at all. And I think that when you use hateful and insightful speech as opposed to, coming together in dialogue and living lives of service, I think you end up with a divided country and not a country that is very easy to move forward in really scary times. And I think that this is it's a desecration to the memories of the people who died, and it's a desecration of those people who fought to save them.
We had Francis Fox Piven on the show a couple of nights ago. We also had Randell on last night. They're both on Beck's list of the intelligent minority, and 8 out of the 9 happen to just be Jewish. We can't read the guy's mind, but so I don't want to ask you if you think that's a coincidence, but is that disturbing to you that somebody would put together a list of the intelligent minority and fill it with Jews?
You know, I think it's really problematic, and I think, again, you know, we can either work together. I'm thinking of a group of students in Washington State who spent a day with Jews and Christians and Muslims in dialogue, and then spending a day of service on Martin Luther King Day. I think we can have those kind of conversations, or we can have conversations in which we demonize the other and we silence the other. And I would prefer, if I were going to choose, I would want to be on the part of trying to do something productive in the world. And frankly, when I'm raising 3 small children myself, it's the same thing. I'm wanting to teach them, how do you talk to each other, not how do you silence and demonize each other. And I think that that's frankly the same conversation that I hope that someone has with Glenn Beck.
Right, because it's a very serious business. Professor Piven has gotten death threats, and and Beck has said on air, here, you know what? I'm going to play you that clip. He talks about shooting people in the head on air. Let's show you that.
The radicals that you in Washington have co-opted and brought in wearing sheep's clothing, change the pose. You get the ends. You've been using them? They believe in communism. They believe and have called for revolution. You're going to have to shoot them in the head.
Look, this is very dangerous times, and Rabbi, I hope that people take your call to action to do something about it and to calm the rhetoric down very, very seriously. And we want to thank you, Rabbi Will Burkovitz, for joining us. Really
Thank you
appreciate
very
it.
much for the opportunity.